So I'm in a neighborhood right now. I just finished up for the week. We used to mow grass in here. So after college, I had like my third lawn company. So I built and sold lawn companies kind of like as a habit. Like the first one I kind of got into in high school. Like I was like, I'm not working at a restaurant. I want to run my own business. What are my options? And it was like power washing, lawn care, car detailing, those things. So I went with lawn care. That's what I had been doing since I was like 12 for my neighbors. So I was like, all right, segue in. Plus it's like trucks and trailers and like I'm into that. So ran into that, built it, sold it for 50 grand a week after I graduated high school. Kind of was forced to sell it. Like my parents were like, you're going to college. I'm like, I'm not going to college. College is stupid. And they're like, no, you're going to college. We're paying for it. I'm like, well, it's kind of like 4-year vacation. I got to college. I really liked it. I lucked out. I went to the right spot. I would never go there now. This is in 2007. I would never go. I wouldn't even go back to my original university. They're like way too woke and stupid now. But nonetheless, sold it. Then in college, I built and sold another one, kind of like a route. And then after college, went to DC for a time period, came back, built a lawn company with the intention of selling it and then moving into bobcats, which is exactly what I did. I'm on this street now. I used to mow here with a crew of 3 guys. Built it up to like 2 my ideal company was always like 2 rigs. I'd get like 2 rigs running and then like I was good right there. So I had that one running on this street. The difference between then and now is, in a way, I kind of have the exact same setup all over again. Enclosed trailer, truck, etc. Except I don't have the other 2 guys, which is a major headache. Like I didn't really enjoy that. When I do tree removal, I do have 2 guys, and they're part-time, but they're military guys, so they have military careers. And when they're home in the winter times, we'll go do some removals just because like it's fun and we can kill it. I mean, you can do several grand a day doing removals. So today I'm riding around with the stump grinder. I've got it in the back there. Have many of the same pieces of equipment that I had, blower. I don't have the backpack sprayer anymore. I still have like a weed whacker thing. It's like a power broom. I still have all that, but my revenue is much better, like almost 2 or 3 times per day when I run for stump grinding. The difference with lawn care is it's every week. At least in Florida, it's like every week. In the winter, it's every other week, but you still get paid the same. So that's where you make it in Florida, is in the wintertime. But I can do 2 or 3 times the revenue by myself, so my costs are way less. And I still have a machine. Instead of having a $12,000 zero-turn lawnmower, I have a $50,000 stump grinder. So I still have a machine, same truck really, same type of truck. Same type of trailer. Pretty much, I had to beef the ramp up so it would handle the weight. It's a 4,000-pound machine. I don't necessarily have to have that size machine, but it makes work really quick, and it's a machine that'll last. Like there's a guy in my town that has 5,500 hours on that same machine. So I've got like 700 on mine. So, and when it gets to that point, you just like pull it apart, have the engine, send the engine off, have it rebuilt, paint the thing while it's apart, re-hose it, put it back together, run it again. So, I mean, you can get a lot, thousands and thousands of hours out of a machine like that. But I point this out to my guys because I know a lot of you guys are outdoor exterior contractors, small business owners, kulaks, if you will, Russian kulaks. Look up what happened to them. The Soviets pushed them out. Same thing your government's doing to you now, so you have to be mindful of this. And I approached it as like where I'm at right now. I'm 32. I don't really want employees. At some point I will have employees, but at this moment in time I don't want to be responsible for testing them, making sure they're masked and vaxxed and all this. Like I don't want to deal with it. And I'm in a state where our state isn't getting too crazy yet. We're in Florida, like where people are, for the most part, pretty level-headed here so far. Although I don't expect that to continue. We have a big influx of people from California and New York, and they're refugees essentially because they voted a certain way. And I'm like apolitical. Like I'm not for either party. Like I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I don't believe that there should be any rulers. And I think that that's, if you're interested in those concepts and ideas, read The Market for Liberty. But nonetheless, I point this out because what I've done is I've increased the amount of capital that I have invested, but I've decreased my need for labor. And the capital I can always keep increasing. Theoretically, with technology, it should rise and rise and rise as far as like what I can produce within a time period. So like I have a 75 horsepower stump grinder. I could upgrade it to 150 horsepower. There's one that they make, it's 150 horsepower. It's a little bit bigger, so it's not ideal for these type of residential, neighborhoods and stuff like that, but it could fit in, But so my point there is that if I want to do work faster and make more revenue in less time, I can control that by my capital investment, by how much I have invested. With labor, I can only really make it go so fast, and then above and beyond that, it's like, well, I have to find better help, right? Or I have to change the task that we're doing. So if I need a minuscule labor task, it is what it is. If I need a guy to run a weed whacker or a backpack blower, there's not a whole lot of skill. If I get into doing stone wall, then yeah, I need guys with more skill, still labor, but more skill, and I can pay them more as well. And so that is something to factor. But I think for this audience, because I know a lot of you have been here for a long time and you're landscape contractors, I share with you that as I've increased my capital investment, I've been able to keep my revenue absolutely the same, but I've been able to cut my cost way down. And actually, arguably, if I really wanted to double or triple my revenue, I definitely could, hour for hour. With the stump grinding, it's set up in a way where it's like, today's a Friday, I'm out running. This is the second time I've had the trailer hooked up this week. The rest of the week I've been in the office. I'm working on a course product for Bobcat guys, Bobcat and tractor type of stuff. I'm working on that. I'm working on these YouTube videos. I do lead generation, so guys that are trees and do tree removal and things like that, land clearing, forestry, mulching. I generate leads for those guys and sell them the leads, and then they sell the projects. I have a lot of office activities that I have to do, but I'm still one of these people. I like to get out. I like to listen to my podcasts, my books, and things like that, and I like to just get out and do something. Also, this business is a very cash-oriented business, so that's nice. Cash at some point in time, I believe, is going away. But the more that you allocate towards capital and think about your exposure to labor, I think that labor has a decreasing return, especially over the next 10 years, as opposed to capital. I'm not saying that for everyone it's the right decision to get rid of all of their laborers and go to just owning capital equipment, but for me it definitely has been, because my labor in a way held me back in many aspects. Now I don't have to make sure I have work for guys 5 or 6 days a week, make sure the trains are running on time. I can just do my office thing, build that out, and still get out on a lawn if I want to get out on a lawn and do work, except it's just me and my machine and a remote controller. It's as simple as it can be. And some days I do some removals and things like that, but nonetheless, I share that with you guys just to think about your allocation. If you've been around since the Periscope days, I've got a whole playlist. I'll link to that playlist of all my old Periscopes. That's Trav 5 or 6 years ago. But I was always preaching on those. You got to get out of labor. You got to get out of labor. And I don't have it all figured out by any means. But the more that I've gotten away from labor and added more capital, and there's a point where you need labor, but the more that I've allocated towards the capital bucket and the less towards the labor bucket, the better off I have been personally.